In 1978, on a secluded mountain retreat in Maryland, two men who hated each other sat across a table, refusing to speak. One was the president of Egypt, the other, the Prime Minister of Israel. Their nations had been at war for decades. Their people had buried generations of sons. Their borders were soaked in blood. And in the middle of this impossible tension stood a quiet, soft-spoken American president. A man who believed peace was possible, even when the world laughed at the idea. His name was Jimmy Carter. And for 13 days, he gambled everything on a fragile hope. This is the Leadership War Room, where pressure reveals true leaders. For decades, the Middle East had been locked in a cycle of war. 1948, 1949, 1950, 1951. Each conflict left deeper wounds, more hatred, more distrust. Egypt and Israel were the central players, two nations locked in a deadly embrace. Egypt wanted its land back. Israel wanted security. Both wanted dignity. Neither trusted the other. And into this storm stepped President Carter, a man with no military background, no diplomatic pedigree, and no global reputation for toughness. But Carter had something else: moral courage. He believed peace was not just strategic, but necessary, and he was willing to risk his presidency to pursue it. Carter invited Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem begin to Camp David, a quiet, isolated retreat. The goal was simple: talk, negotiate, find common ground. But the reality was brutal. Sadat and Begin refused to be in the same room. They refused to shake hands. They refused to speak directly. Every meeting ended in shouting. Every proposal collapsed. Every hour brought new threats to walk away. Carter was trapped between two men who represented millions of lives and decades of pain. He couldn't force them. He couldn't threaten them. He couldn't manipulate them. He had only one weapon: patience. And he used it like a scalpel. On day 10, everything fell apart. Begin packed his bags. Sadat prepared to leave. The negotiations were dead. Carter faced a moment every leader dreads: the brink of total failure. But instead of giving up, he made a move no one expected. He walked into Begin's cabin with a stack of photographs, pictures of Begin's grandchildren. On each photo, Carter wrote their names in his own handwriting. He handed them to Begin and said, "These are the children who will live with the decisions we make here." Begin froze. The weight of the moment hit him. This wasn't politics. This wasn't strategy. This was legacy. Begin sat down. He reopened the negotiations. He compromised, and the peace process came back to life. On day 13, after nearly 2 weeks of tension, anger, and exhaustion, the impossible happened. Egypt and Israel reached an agreement, the Camp David Accords. Egypt would recognize Israel. Israel would return the Sinai Peninsula. Both nations would commit to peace. It was the first peace treaty between Israel and an Arab nation. It reshaped the Middle East. It saved countless lives. It changed history. But the cost was enormous. Sadat was assassinated 3 years later. Begin faced political backlash. Carter lost re-election. Peace has a price, and leaders who pursue it often pay it personally. But the legacy remains. Leadership under fire is not always about war. Sometimes it is about peace. Peace requires more courage than conflict, more patience than aggression, more humility than pride. Jimmy Carter didn't succeed because he was powerful. He succeeded because he was persistent. He listened. He mediated. He absorbed anger. He refused to quit. He understood a truth many leaders ignore. In conflict, everyone loses. In peace, everyone sacrifices. Carter didn't gamble on politics. He gambled on humanity. And for 13 days, he held the world together with nothing but hope, patience, and moral clarity. That is leadership under fire. This is the Leadership War Room, where pressure reveals true leaders. Stay sharp, stay decisive. The War Room continues.